Yes, I am. So are you, too. We're old. Paper back up, page turned. She told him Cheryl Ann's age, thinking it would surprise him, too, all that energy. He humped at her from behind the paper. So, her life's about over, too, pretty much. Nelva went across the room to around the table set for supper and looked out the window. Cheryl Ann's car was gone. The place closed up for the night. At the far end of the field, the sun was behind the pines and made what she looked at shadowy black. Remember I told you about that fawn that one time? She stood with her hand held out as though it was there in front of her again. Nothing came from the other side of the paper, and she wondered, had she actually asked the question, said the words? And then the timer on the stove went off. The first time was impossible, or nearly so. Breathe, Cheryl Ann told her. You have to breathe. She could feel the slab that was her body. She knew that Cheryl Ann was touching the very outside, so it was the way inside that she retreated to. She worried about everything, about being here at all, about the massage table collapsing under her. But most of all, she couldn't believe it, and maybe that's why she couldn't breathe, that under the thin cotton sheet she was entirely naked. What are we going to do with you? Cheryl Ann asked her. Cheryl Ann had come around to the side and was looking down into her face. Nelva thought, this must be what it's like to be dead. Her white, rigid body on a tabletop, and the undertaker looking down and wondering where to start. She supposed she'd be naked for that, too. Her voice trailed off. She was going to say she was trying, but that wasn't true. Trying what? She had no idea what the experience was supposed to be like, or what was expected of her. It had taken a good half hour to go from fully clothed to unclothed, into the robe and back out of the robe to getting onto the table. Hoisting herself up, she'd farted good and loud and nearly died of shame right there. The sheet wasn't nearly enough, and when Cheryl Ann came in all smiles and wonder, she wanted to run away. But when she pictured herself, clothes in hand, making her way up to the house, she was only horrified some more. Let's try this. Cheryl Ann carefully moved the sheet from her right arm and brought it out, tucked the sheet back in along her side, and then leaned her hip against the table. One hand was under Nelva's, the other on top. The amount of heat Nelva felt from the contact was incredible to her. A small fire, really. Close your eyes, Cheryl Ann said. Her own were already closed. Nelva closed her eyes. Zero in on the music. It wasn't music, really, not the kind that Nelva was familiar with. It was more just sounds. The long spaces between, and when there were actual sounds, they were long and drawn out. The one that kept coming through was the ocean. Waves on sand, almost a metal sound, and she saw the water coming in and then retreating. She and Dallas went to the beach for several years in a row back when they were first married, lost the baby, and then had Vernon. They hadn't gone much of anywhere for a long time. Days came and went, weeks, and then the year was gone with just the regular trips to the grocery, the doctor's office, and the pharmacy.